So, Taylor, thank you, Taylor, for the book. It's called The Bible in 52 Weeks, and she bought it for me. Thank you, Taylor. I was hoping to do a Bible study with her, but she's out and about today, so I'm going to be doing this Bible study with you. So, if you have nothing else to do and you want to sit in on a Bible study, why not, right? You can sit in. I invite you to sit in and let's go through this book, Bible in 52 weeks. So, week 1. There's nothing too hard for God. And it's so interesting because it talks about the purpose of this chapter, week 1 chapter, is to encourage the encourager. And I'm by profession, I'm a school counselor, so I'm always encouraging kids, people. I always look on the positive side of things. And today I felt overwhelmed this week. There's a lot going on in our house and just in the community, and of course school and all that. I have to go back to school at the end of this month, and I don't know what that's going to look like, and there's just so many uncertainties. But the purpose of, and I just thank God for this book because it's encouraging the encourager. And I need encouragement right now. So the purpose is to encourage the encourager today. While you focus on the needs of those around you, remember that God has not forgotten about you. Isn't that wonderful? He hasn't forgotten. That just touches my heart because somebody is actually thinking about you and encouraging you, and he hasn't forgotten about you. So keep up being encouraging and keep up being positive and just being yourself. And I know a lot of you work hard and you stay positive and you're givers and you like to help and do the right thing and things like that. And it can be draining sometimes because when things get hard for you in your life, who's there to encourage you? Who's there to pick you up? So God hasn't forgotten about you. He hears your prayers and remembers your heart's desires and struggles. He posed a question to Abraham in Genesis 18:14. Is anything too hard for the Lord? Ooh, nothing's too hard, right? And the answer is that there's absolutely nothing too hard for God. In Ephesians 3:20 says that God is able to do exceedingly abundantly above all that we ask or think, according to the power that works in us. There's nothing you could think of or ask that God cannot do. Let me read that again. Ephesians 3:20 says that God is able to do exceedingly abundantly above all that we ask or think. Wow. According to the power that works in us. So I like that. That's why I had to read it again, because I said, did it really say that? According to the power that works in us. So where does that power come from? And who gives us the power? You know that God does. Isn't that amazing? Especially during these times with the COVID-19 and, you know, the protests and the racial tensions and the uncertainty of our future as far as what school's going to look like for our children, what the job outlook is going to be, if things are going to be opening up soon, the economy, the presidential elections that are coming up. Everything seems so uncertain. But just know that nothing you can think of or ask that God cannot do. There's always hope in God. There's always just this, God is in control, basically. In the story of Sarah and Abraham, God told Abraham that he would make him a great nation, and from him all the families of the earth would be blessed. That's Genesis 12:2 and 3. 2 and 3. This promise probably didn't make sense to Abraham at the time because he and Sarah had no children, and well into their senior years, they thought they were too old to have children. But in chapter 16, here's where that comes in. Sarah still hadn't had a child yet, so she took matters into her own hands, and God allowed it, but he did not ordain it. You must be mindful that when it comes to the promises of God, you shouldn't take matters into your own hands. Isn't that the truth? You know, sometimes when we put our hand into it or our thinking into things, it makes things worse, and we just think that we have the answer to everything, and we don't. We should wait on God. In chapter 18, God made Abraham and Sarah a specific promise, one that didn't make sense, that the odds were against them because of their age. Abraham was 100 and Sarah was 90 years old. By this time, it had been 13 years since God made his original promise in chapter 12, and they had seen no sign of their earlier promise. What do you do when you've waited so long and somebody is telling you that the impossible is still possible? What do you do when the promise just doesn't make sense? You've got to decide in your heart not to give in to your doubt. I know that's easier said than done. I've had to learn the hard way that doubting hinders the progress to your promise. It paralyzes you and keeps you stagnant. It makes you want to take control rather than trust God with your life. However, when you replace doubt with faith, you give God something to work with. It's easy to be skeptical when the odds are against you, but I encourage you to trust God to keep his word. When you replace doubt with faith, trust that God will do his part and release the blessing. You have to believe that there is absolutely nothing too hard for God to do. So there's some points to ponder. When I'm faced with an impossibility, how do I handle it? I don't handle it too well, I think. But going forward, after reading this, I need to put more, my faith needs to be put to practice and wait on God, regardless of how long it may take to see an answer or a blessing from what I'm going through. What has this lesson taught you about your faith? Well, that's what it's taught me. What areas have you discovered where you are strong in faith? What areas have you discovered where you find needs to be strengthened? Well, I know without a shadow of a doubt that God is faithful, that his word always comes to pass. I need to be strengthened in the faith where I need to wait and wait for an answer. And sometimes I do take matters into my own hands, and things sometimes just don't come out the way that I need to. But I am good at, now that I'm thinking about it, I am good at allowing God to take control. And when he opens a door, I know that it's him saying, you know, walk through this door. I've opened it for you. Take this opportunity. And then when he closes a door, like a job or something, they say, you know, they don't hire you. There's a reason why God closed that door, because that wasn't the particular job for you. After this lesson, what are some impossibilities that you will commit to prayer? I will pray for the circumstances that I'm in. I just got a text message because I was texting someone about being anxious about school starting and not really having a plan in place. And I'm a planner, like I need to plan ahead. I just need to know, get a little anxiety. And they just said, hey, we are all anxious. And so, okay. I'm going to commit to praying to have more patience and just to wait on the Lord. I'm going to commit to not just having more patience with myself, but with other people, and just having faith that God will take care of things and make things better. So my actions for this week are decide in my heart to think and speak positive, replace negative words with positive words. Make a commitment to myself to intentionally respond to my doubts with declaration of faith. I like that. At the end of the week, I'm going to take notes on how speaking positively in my life has begun to have a good impact on the outlook and ability to trust God.